So we just finished talking about tripods, and in this video we're going to actually talk about the ball heads that are on the top of them. Stick around.
All right, having a good tripod is great, but without anything on top of it to hold the camera in place, you've got nothing. So there's all different kinds of heads that go on the tops of tripods. And let's talk about a few of those here, basically. The ones that we've been using, what they mean, and what you would use them for.
The first one I got, and I had no knowledge of what I was doing or why. I just thought this was an easy way to, move my camera around. It's a pistol grip, and you basically, you just grab it and you can move everything around. And there's a friction knob on the side here. But what I didn't know was that once I started putting heavy camera gear on here, that it would move. And this quickly just came out of my bag, and it was a ball head that I just stopped using. It just didn't work for what I was using it for. I don't know, it didn't hold the camera the way I needed it to. Now this ball head is mine, and I bought this, on a recommendation from someone, and it worked pretty well. But I found that this one, even, when I would crank down and tighten it, I was still able to move it. I had a little bit of trouble with this one. So I used this for a long time, and it did the job, but when I put my 70 to 200 on here, I found that I was getting some movement with it. So it's good, but it wasn't great. So when you're starting to use heavier camera gear, you might want to step up to a little bit, maybe better ball head or a little more expensive, and you should try to move them, tighten them down and try to move them and see if you can before you actually buy them.
Other than a ball head, the geared head, which I use fairly often, it's very heavy, it's bulky. I use it only in certain situations when I'm not walking quite as far, or I can put it on a backpack if I'm hiking. The way the geared head would work is totally different than a ball head, and that all the movements are done with knobs. So basically, your back and forth is one knob, okay, the other knob controls up and down, and this controls side to side a little bit there. It's great for very precise movements if you want to get it exactly right, and it holds a ton of weight. My heaviest stuff I can put on here and not worry about it slipping or moving at all.
But how is that cost-wise compared to a regular ball head? Are they a lot more money?
It's not a lot more. It's a few $100s, which is basically about what the most expensive ball heads are probably right around there also. The average expensive ones are right around there. But you really, if you're gonna get a good tripod and you're gonna have a good camera, you want to have something good in between. So it pays to spring a little bit extra for the money to make sure that you have a good stable ball head.
Yeah, and if you're traveling and this just isn't practical,
right?
Then you step up to a ball head that's a little sturdier. A little, I don't know. This one, I cannot move this. The tripod will break before I move it. So this was another reason why I started using, along with the Faisal tripod. I bought the tripod first and was using this ball head, and it wasn't working for me. And now this was more money, and I was trying to save a few dollars, and I bought that. And this was about $75, and I think this was about $140. And they make different sizes, and I got like a mid-size one. And I'm so glad I bought it, and I wish I would have just spent the money right up front, because now I've spent $220 or $30 on two ball heads when I really just needed this one up front. And so that's something else to think about, Yeah,
you've also seen heads like the one that we have over here. It has a handle on it. It's a panning head, basically. It's more for video. You put your camera on there. If you're going to be shooting video, you can do panning shots. You can move it around with a nice fluid motion. It's really not for stills. You can use it for stills if you had to, but they're typically bigger and heavier than the ball heads that you'd be using for a still camera.
So that's a quick overview of ball heads. I mean, when you walk into a camera store, there's going to be many more than this and many options, but try to think of the gear you have, the weight of the gear you have, and how are you going to use it? Are you going to be traveling a lot, or do you live in a spot that's picturesque and you want to get a really solid one to just go out, locally and shoot? But if you're going to be on and off planes, packing your stuff in bags, you might want to go with something that's smaller, but still, rock solid. So these are the things you have to think about and mess around with them. Try them out.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to put links to all of these different tripod heads that we use in the description below, so you can check them out. You can check out the reviews, what other people are saying about them.
Okay, click like if you like the videos, and click the little notification bell if you'd like to be notified when we post one.
And definitely subscribe to the channel. We have videos like this and a lot of other stuff that we're doing, not just gear reviews, but Lightroom tutorials, different shooting techniques that we have, and just general fun stuff related to photography.
Okay, see you in the next one.